Hi, long range hunting. Let's talk about budget scopes. But first, we're going to jump into an interesting story. So I had a break. I was off for about a month from all this. Everybody should have seen that. I did answer some questions and stuff. I did put out a couple of videos the other day, but the reason for the gap was I was on a vacation road trip with my son over the summer, drove all over the country, had a really good time. Multiple things that I did on that road trip, and one we're going to dive into in a second. But first thing first, I had a really interesting situation happen that I would have never guessed would have happened. It took me by a complete surprise, but it was actually pretty cool. And so Junior and I made an unplanned stop. We were heading back from, at the time, Idaho. We were driving through Wyoming, and we ended up at like 1:30 in the morning needing to stop. So we just found a hotel on one of those little towns off I-80 in Wyoming and found a hotel finally, spent the night, woke up in the morning, and due to something medically, I had to go into the ER. Now, I'm fine. Obviously, you can see I'm still standing. I'm all good. But warranted going into the ER. Now, I went to the ER. Now, it's a small town. You know, you got the one hospital, so I really like smaller towns. The hospitality is great. They got me in really quick, had me looked at. Very professional. Everybody there took great care of me. I want to give them a shout out. You guys know who you are. You did a phenomenal job. But the interesting part came with the doctor. So doctor walks in, very, very nice guy, very professional, starts taking care of me. But he kind of had a weird look on his face. And I couldn't figure out if he was just trying to figure out what was going on or what, so I didn't say anything. But afterwards, he gets me all, fixed up and what needs to be done and a prescription and all that. And we got talking about, where we were from, and he actually grew up very close to where I grew up. A lot of similarities, and hunting came up naturally. And then, got talking about long range and the YouTube channel. And come to find out, he's one of you guys. He's one of the guys that watches my videos. When we walked in, he thought it was me, but he was trying to figure out if it actually was me, because, not a lot of people have dinosaur tattoos and stuff like that. But it's just funny this wasn't a scheduled stop. It wasn't anything planned. It was, we stopped at like 1:30 in the morning, just off a whim. What are the chances that I have to go to the ER? I go to a small town ER, go see the ER doctor in the one hospital there, and he happens to be a guy that watches the videos. This is him. So, Doc, it was an absolute pleasure to meet you. Tell everybody at the ER, thank you again for all you guys did. You guys took really good care of me. Hopefully you have a really good season this year. You can drop a nice bull or something and, just have a good time with it. Keep practicing at those longer ranges and getting more comfortable. And if you ever have questions, drop them in the comments below. It was an honor to meet you. I appreciate everything. Now, let's get to the actual meat and potatoes of this video. Now, we're talking about budget scopes. Now, part of this road trip was not only to see family and friends and have some adventures, but it was meet up also with a friend, specifically my buddy Logan of Fall River Shooters. Now, he's a fellow YouTuber. You can find him on YouTube. I'll put one of his videos in the link below if you want to go check out his stuff. He does a lot of stuff with thermal imaging, etc. But really good guy. And there's been an issue that I've had with me being self-funded. I don't take sponsors, I don't take deals, anything like that. The reason is I want to be completely independent and completely honest. Now, what a lot of people that don't have insight into the industry don't know is, marketing is like politicians. They're saying what they need to say. It's basically legal embellishments and lies. So every company is going to tell you, oh, my product's better than anything else. Oh, my $300 item is better than that $5,000 one. It's the same thing. It's a selling point, and everyone's going to tell you it's the best. And so it's a problem because you think the company would be the best source for a lot of information, and sometimes it is, and sometimes they're feeding you a line of, absolute BS. And so a lot of people look to independent people for independent testing. The problem with that is for the same reason, a lot of them are just giving a positive review. They're following that marketing line. And the reason is because those companies, just like they're going to say everything's great and it's the best and it's better than everything else, if they take the time and the money and everything to send somebody a product to review, they want a positive review because that's what they're seeking. And so the problem is you're going to get a lot of those guys, because they want stuff sent to them, they just do a positive write-up, send it back, wait for the next thing. And so you're really not getting anything good out of it. It's just more marketing. So it really sucks for the consumer because it gives you bad information as a consumer. And I've had plenty of that. I don't even bother with magazine articles or any of that anymore. It's the same thing. It's basically somebody else writing what the company wants them to write. And so I don't agree with doing that. So it makes it more difficult because that means anything I do, I have to have myself. So I'll use my own equipment, or I spend my own money in order to do it. And that way, when I show you guys something or tell you guys something, it's 100% just based on merit. And I prefer it to be that way. And, a couple examples of what I'm talking about. I knew a guy that worked for a company. I'm not going to mention who he is or what, but he ended up getting fired because he recommended to somebody a product other than the one that they sold, a different company's product. And it was just a side thing. It wasn't like he was publicly announcing it. Somebody asked him a question. He told him, he's like, hey, you could do ours, but this one's a little bit better. He lost his job over that. Again, was he being honest? Was that other product better? Yes. And he was trying to hook somebody up. But because the company didn't get pushed, he lost the job over doing that. Another one is another buddy. He did a review of 2 products. And again, he carries in his store all these different products. And he simply did 2 products, almost the same, just different companies. And he simply showed video of them, what they did, put all the specs and everything for them. Nothing biased, nothing, a straightforward, here is the specs, here's the specs, look for yourself, here's everything. And both companies the next day called him up and reamed him a new one because he didn't make their product stand out better than the other one. And he's like, I'm just trying to do an equal one. I sell both of your stuff. So it's a real thing that they want. And even somebody like the last guy I was talking about, who is not, sponsored or anything, he just has a store. They still want their product pushed, and they will get quite aggressive with it. And so he just left it out there for everybody to do. And so it makes it really hard to do anything. So a lot of guys ask me about budget scopes. I don't really do anything budget anymore. The reason being is, I learned a long time ago, buy once, cry once. And so it might take longer. Yeah, I could buy that cheap one now, the budget one, and then later update, but then I'm, wasting money. I'd rather save up for 6 months, a year, whatever it takes, and get the correct equipment right from the go. And so I don't really get a chance. I get a chance to play with certain stuff, but I don't usually recommend it. But obviously not everybody is willing to do that, or can financially do it, or whatever you want to, however you want to do it. And so I get a lot of questions about budget scopes. But again, the problem is I got to go and spend my own money in order to get those. And that's the problem, because I'm not going to go, buying bullets and using powder and stuff is one thing, but spending hundreds or $1,000 or whatever for something that I'm not going to use just to review it is pretty ridiculous. So Logan had an interesting idea, and I really appreciate it. Logan, thank you again for this. But he said, hey, how about I send you products, good, bad, and ugly, whatever you want to do, just give it an honest review, send it back, I'll send you something else. Now, he's a very solid guy, and when he says it, he means it. So, that's a great thing, because it allows me without any strings attached or any, I'm going to give it exactly what it's going to get. It's going to get good, bad, the ugly, whatever, however it lands, it lands. And so this gives me an opportunity to give you guys a better look at certain stuff and help you with that area that I really don't touch anymore, and hopefully can help you guys out. So the first start of these is starting off with an Arken. This is the EPL TAC 4. It's a 6 through 24 by 50 millimeter. It's in first focal plane with one of their mill reticles, the VHR FFP. It says it has ED glass, first focal plane reticle, 0 stop, 50 BMG rated, waterproof, and fog proof. Now I'm curious about the 50 BMG rated because, quite honestly, I hear that a lot, and I've seen stuff that's been 50 BMG rated fail before. But we have that one. And I have this on one of my carbines. The reason is this is one of my guns I use for different stuff, hogs, varmint, stuff like that. And it's going to get a whole hell of a lot more use running it on here. It's accurate enough to where I can do tracking tests and all that. And I'll probably throw it on one of the other rifles, a bolt gun, just to test it on there. So with these testings, I'm going to do several things with them. I will be testing them in the field. I'll also do controlled testing, and that's probably what I'll put it on the bolt gun for. So we're going to do tracking, low light, etc. I'm going to end up throwing on the trigger cam to videotape that so you guys can see actual footage from it, pictures from it. I have played with it quite a bit. I just got back, but so I have played with it. So we'll show you how everything is, where it stacks up, and I'm going to do 2 different criterias here. 2 different comparisons. The reason I want to do that is so you get a broad spectrum, because I'm going to be comparing this and other budget scopes against each other. So you're seeing, okay, this is the same bracket. This is how they stack up. And then I'm going to do all scopes, period. So I'm going to compare the Smith & Bender to this, and we're going to have grading scales. And that way you not only see how it stacks up against other budget scopes, but how it stacks up, period. Without any bias or anything like that. So we'll do tracking tests, stuff like that, utilizing the reticle, see how the glass is in regular, low light, etc. And so we can have a lot of fun with it. Looking forward to testing it. I've heard good things about it. Just looking through, it's actually not bad for a budget scope. And we'll dive a lot more into that as we go. Now, another part that's pretty cool, and this isn't so much on the budget side, there are budget ones, but the other cool part is here in Oklahoma we have a lot of hogs, and they're a big problem, including places that I hunt. And so night is the best time to do it. And I've looked at getting thermals. Well, he also does a lot with thermals, and so he let me borrow this bad boy to test also. And so not only will I be doing budget scopes, I'll also be reviewing thermal scopes. Because I know a lot of us, anywhere there's hogs, we like to get out in the dark and start smacking them. And so we're going to do a lot of comparisons with this. I'm going to hunt with this pretty extensively as I can, as much as I can get out at night and do it and test them. This is the AGM. This is the Rattler TS. Played with this one quite a bit. I've already ran through a battery. But yeah, it's a pretty nice system. This is a little more expensive than some of the budget ones. This is about $2K, but so far it's pretty neat. It's pretty easy to use. This is going to end up on several guns because I want to test it out. I want to also see how far we can accurately shoot in this. It does have a reticle in it, and I want to see how well that tracks and how far we can stretch out on a gun that can stretch out. So we're going to put this to some pretty heavy use, and we're going to put the other scope to some pretty heavy use. So we have all of that coming up, and I've kept quiet on this just because I wanted to make sure, one, it was going to happen, two, get my hands on them, take a look. But as we go forward, I'm going to do an episode or 2 on each one specifically, and then so I'll do this one, I'll show controlled testing in the field, And then down the line, as we do more scopes and stuff, I'll do a combined one where we'll show all the scopes and ranking together. So you can watch the individual one and see how it does, and then you can watch down the road and see how it stacks up. Another buddy has a store also. We've been in a discussion about doing the same thing with Athlon products. So I haven't quite gotten the sign off on that as far as he's willing to say, hey, you know, say whatever you want about it, because I know he has a very tight connection with them. But, you know, that's all I'm interested in is the honest one. And if it can't be honest, or if they're going to throw a fit, I'm not going to mess with it. I'd rather, you know, do something else or test something else. So very hard to get products that, you know, truly let the product speak and they're not worried about it. And if it's not positive, then, you know, they're not going to freak out. I do have to tell you, there is one company recently that practiced what they preached with that, and that's Apex Bullets. They have the afterburners. I did them. It's a monolithic. It's a tipped one that sheds weight, it sheds pedals. And when I talked to him, and I paid for them, it wasn't like he sent them to me. You know, I ordered them, and he was, you know, I was talking to him about his bullets and stuff, and he's like, I'm really curious to see what you said. And I mean, it wasn't negative, but it wasn't exactly positive. It wasn't a great review. But he still said, you know what? Thank you. I appreciate the feedback. You know, he wasn't butthurt. He took that feedback, you know, and I was really impressed by that, because it's not something you see a lot these days. But we have a lot coming forward, you know, a lot of cool things coming up that some, you know, we've talked about, some we haven't. There's more than just this coming, but this is the main focus right now, is starting with these. Need to get down and start swacking some hogs. I'm just waiting for a night permit in order to go do it at one place. So hopefully we'll have that coming soon. I do have another buddy that does, you know, night stuff and has a permit, so I might run over with him. And need to get to the range and start getting these bad boys sighted in and see how far we can go, etc. So lots to do. I'll keep you guys updated as we go. Look forward to more videos. Everybody be safe out there. Doc, thank you again for everything. It was a pleasure to meet you. That was just an awesome experience. I don't know who was more surprised, me or the doctor, to be honest, but everybody be safe out there. Happy hunting.
Hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and turn on notification bell so you won't miss out on any future video. And happy hunting!